I'm here with Leah Mooney, who's just presented a really interesting paper on the privacy laws as they affect the workplace. Leah, one of the subjects you covered in your presentation was the impact of privacy laws on remote working. Can you explain a bit more why this is so important?
Of course. So the issue of overlap between privacy and home working really came to a head with COVID, where we all had to pivot to technology-enabled working and learning from home. Now, in the context of that emergency, there were some privacy protections that were put in place. The Commonwealth Privacy Commissioner and the State and Territory Privacy Commissioner released some COVID-specific principles. And in addition to that, there were various states and territories that released health directives that allowed the collection of additional information in certain circumstances for the purposes of managing that crisis. Now, the crisis is largely over, and the consequence of that from a privacy perspective is if organisations collected information about vaccinations and other COVID-specific information in reliance on health directives, they need to think very carefully about whether they should still hold that information. And subject to any record retention obligations that apply, I recommend that there be an audit of that information to determine whether that should now be destroyed. Another consideration is that post-COVID, there was a bit of flexibility around, it was really about operationalising businesses and learning. So there was an understanding that organisations just needed to continue to operate. But now, if they haven't done so already, they really need to do that privacy impact assessment for those staff who are working at home. Consider whether there's sufficient security in place, consider whether they're continuing to comply with their privacy obligations with respect to the information they collect in that context, and to look at any state and territory specific monitoring legislation, particularly those states and territories that have workplace specific surveillance and monitoring legislation, to make sure that they're complying with that as well.
Leah, thank you very much.